Don't move. What were you doing in there?
What? I work here, bro.
We got multiple calls about a man in the women's locker room.
I was fixing the drain. This is crazy.
Turn around. Hands behind
For
your back.
what? I didn't do anything.
Look up.
Call my manager. I'm not.
He wasn't fixing a drain. He was swapping batteries. Jalen Marcus Odom had been placing hidden devices inside that locker room for 8 months. Pinhole lenses no bigger than a shirt button, tucked inside air vents, smoke detectors, electrical outlets. 47 victims and over 2,000 files stored on encrypted drives and shared across underground forums. One gym member, dropping her phone behind a locker bench, exposed it all, and what investigators found on his devices would send him to prison for the next 5 years. Before we continue, have you ever checked for hidden devices in a locker room, hotel room, or rental property? Let me know. And if you haven't subscribed yet, do it now. Jalen Marcus Odom was born in April of 2001 in Maywood, Illinois, a working-class suburb just west of Chicago, where the houses were small, the lots were narrow, and opportunity didn't come knocking unless you went out and found it yourself. His mother, Denise Odom, worked as a nursing assistant at a care facility in Bellwood, 12-hour shifts, rotating weekends. She raised Jalen alone. His father left before the boy turned 2. Denise never spoke about him. No photos on the walls, no stories at dinner, just silence where a father should have been. Jalen was a quiet kid, not troubled, just invisible. He moved through elementary school and middle school without making much of an impression on anyone. Teachers would later describe him as compliant and unremarkable. He sat in the back of classrooms. He ate lunch alone. He never raised his hand, never caused problems, never gave anyone a reason to remember his name. At Proviso East High School, that pattern continued. He played no sports, joined no clubs, had no close friends anyone could recall. His guidance counselor's notes from junior year read, "Jalen is a polite young man who keeps to himself, no behavioral concerns." He graduated in 2019, somewhere in the middle of his class. His mother had to work that day, a double shift she couldn't miss. After graduation, Jalen took a job in the stockroom at a Target in Melrose Park. Overnight shifts, unloading trucks, sorting inventory, stocking shelves. The work suited him. He didn't have to talk to customers. He could disappear into the rhythm of cardboard and shrink wrap. He stayed 2 years before leaving without notice in March 2022. No incident, no confrontation. He simply stopped showing up. His next job was janitorial work at a DuPage County office building. Night shifts, emptying trash cans, vacuuming carpets, cleaning restrooms. He lasted 9 months. 2 female employees complained about him lingering near the women's restroom on multiple occasions. No formal report was ever filed. No investigation was opened. Management simply encouraged him to move on, and he did. If someone had documented those complaints, 47 women might never have become victims. In March 2024, Jalen applied for a facilities maintenance position at Summit Athletic Club in Glendale Heights. The background check came back clean. No criminal record, no red flags. He was hired after a single 15-minute interview. He was given a uniform, an employee ID badge, and a master key that opened every door in the building. Summit Athletic Club opened in 2018 as a premium fitness destination for the western suburbs of Chicago. The Glendale Heights location was the flagship. 34,000 square feet of cardio equipment, free weights, group fitness studios, a lap pool, a sauna, and dedicated spaces for women who wanted to work out without feeling watched. The irony of that last detail would become devastating. The facility served over 4,000 active members. Monthly dues ranged from $89 to $149. The locker rooms were a selling point, spacious, clean, private. The women's locker room spanned 2,400 square feet, with 48 lockers, 12 private changing stalls, and 8 individual showers. The walls were painted a calming sage green. The floors were slip-resistant tile. The lighting was soft but functional. Everything was designed to make women feel comfortable, safe, at ease. Privacy was the promise. The marketing materials said it explicitly: a space designed for you, your workout, your time, your comfort. No surveillance cameras were permitted inside the locker rooms. That was policy, a policy rooted in the obvious understanding that people deserved privacy in changing areas. What the policy failed to account for was what happened when someone with access decided to create their own surveillance system. Maintenance staff had unrestricted entry to every area of the facility: plumbing repairs, electrical issues, HVAC maintenance, light bulb replacements. The list of legitimate reasons to enter a locker room was long, and the verification process was virtually non-existent. The protocol was simple: log the request in a paper binder at the front desk, confirm the space was empty, place a sign on the door. No digital tracking, no supervisor approval, no requirement for a second employee to be present, no cameras watching the watcher. Jalen learned the system within his first 2 weeks. He learned which hours had the lowest traffic. He learned which cameras covered which hallways and which corners were blind spots. He learned that no one questioned a maintenance worker carrying a toolbox into a restricted space. And he learned that the air vents above the changing benches could be accessed with nothing more than a Phillips head screwdriver and 4 minutes of uninterrupted access. The first device was placed on October 14th, 2024, at 11:47 p.m. Jalen had stayed late that night, logged in the system as Vent Inspection, Women's Locker Room. The facility closed at 10. By 11, the cleaning crew had finished and gone home. Jalen was alone in the building with his master key and a small black device he had ordered from an overseas electronics supplier 6 weeks earlier. The device cost him $42. It was smaller than a bottle cap. The lens was the size of a pinhead. It recorded in high definition, stored footage on a micro SD card, and transmitted wirelessly to any device connected to its network. The listing had described it as a home security solution. The reviews were full of people using it for exactly what Jalen had in mind. He unscrewed the vent cover above changing bench row 3, positioned the device inside, angled downward, replaced the cover. The entire process took less than 4 minutes. When he walked out of the building that night, no alarm sounded. No camera flagged his entry. No supervisor asked why he was still there 2 hours after close. From that night forward, he had a direct view into the changing area. 4 stalls, dozens of women, hundreds of hours of footage that no one knew existed. By November, he had added a second device. This one was hidden inside a smoke detector housing near the entrance to the shower area. The angle was different, wider, capturing women as they moved through the space. By December, a third, tucked inside an electrical outlet at bench level near the vanity mirrors. This one captured women doing their makeup, fixing their hair, going about their routines. Private moments. The ones they thought no one could see. The devices ran on small lithium batteries with a 72-hour lifespan. Every 3 days, Jalen would log a fake maintenance request, enter the locker room, and swap the batteries. He did this 23 times over 8 months. 23 entries. 23 opportunities for someone to notice something was wrong. No one noticed. No one checked. No one asked. The footage accumulated faster than even Jalen had anticipated. He organized it by date, then by subject. He created folders with labels, physical descriptions, nicknames, categories. The women had no idea they had been reduced to file names on a stranger's hard drive. By the time he was caught, the archive contained over 2,300 individual files. 47 women had been identified. The youngest was 19, a college student who worked out between classes. The oldest was 58, a grandmother who came to the gym every morning at 6 a.m. to swim laps before her shift at a medical office. Some women appeared in the footage once. Others appeared dozens of times. Their routines memorized, their schedules tracked, their privacy violated over and over again without their knowledge. But Jalen didn't just keep the files for himself. Beginning in November 2024, he began uploading selections to encrypted forums online. Investigators would later trace at least 14 uploads to his IP address. The files were downloaded by users in 11 different countries. They were shared, reposted, and archived on servers that would never fully be scrubbed. Those images exist somewhere to this day. They will exist forever, and the women in them will never be able to take them back. That is the permanent cost of what Jalen Odom built in those 8 months, a cost that no prison sentence can ever fully repay. December 22nd, 2024, a Sunday, 2 days before Christmas. The gym was busy with members trying to squeeze in workouts before the holiday rush. The parking lot was full by 9 a.m. The spin studio had a wait list. The locker room hummed with the usual Sunday morning energy. Women coming and going, lockers slamming, hair dryers running. Sarah Whitmore was 34 years old, a marketing executive at a healthcare company in Schaumburg, a gym member since 2022. She came to Summit 3 times a week, spin class on Sundays, weights on Tuesdays, yoga on Thursdays. She had a locker she always used. Row 3, second from the end. She had changed in that exact spot dozens of times, maybe hundreds. It was routine, automatic, safe, or so she thought. She had just finished a spin class and was changing in the locker room when her phone slipped from her hand and fell behind the bench. She crouched down to retrieve it, reaching into the narrow gap between the bench and the wall. Her fingers brushed against something that wasn't supposed to be there. A small, hard object. Wired. Taped in place. She pulled it out slowly, her pulse quickening. A black rectangular device, no bigger than a matchbox, with a tiny lens on one end, pointed directly upward, toward where she had just been standing, toward where she had just been changing. For a moment, she didn't move. Her mind raced through the possibilities. What it was, how long it had been there, how many times she had changed in this exact spot without knowing, how many other women had stood in the same place, completely unaware, how many hours of footage might exist, how many strangers might have already seen it. Sarah didn't scream. She didn't panic. She wrapped the device in a paper towel, walked straight to the front desk, and said 5 words that would change everything. "I found this. Call police." The front desk manager stared at the device for 3 full seconds before picking up the phone. Within the hour, Glendale Heights police were on scene. The facility was placed on lockdown. Members were asked to leave. Staff were told to wait in the break room until further notice. Officers swept the entire women's locker room with RF detection equipment designed to identify wireless transmitters. They found 2 more devices, one in the smoke detector near the showers, one in an electrical outlet by the vanity mirrors. All 3 were the same make, same model, and connected to the same wireless network. The network was registered to a personal device. The device belonged to a Summit Athletic Club employee, a maintenance technician with a master key and after-hours access. His name was Jalen Marcus Odom. The warrant for Jalen's arrest was issued at 4:47 p.m. on December 22, 2024. By then, he was already at work, unaware that the devices had been discovered, unaware that police had been in the building for nearly 6 hours, unaware that his entire operation had collapsed. Investigators executed a search warrant on his apartment that same evening. What they found inside would take forensic analysts 3 weeks to fully catalog. 2 laptops, 3 external hard drives, a drawer full of camera components, battery packs, and micro SD cards, a shoebox containing receipts from overseas electronics purchases dating back to August. On the drives, 2,314 individual files, images and footage spanning 8 months, 47 identifiable victims. The files were organized with disturbing precision, folders labeled by date, subfolders labeled with descriptions of the women inside, physical characteristics, estimated ages, nicknames Jalen had invented for them. He had turned human beings into inventory, categories to be sorted, content to be consumed. Some folders had been accessed dozens of times, others hundreds. But the most damaging evidence wasn't on the hard drives. It was on his phone. Investigators recovered a series of messages from an encrypted app, conversations with other users on forums where he had been uploading content. The exchanges made clear that this wasn't just about collecting files. It was about sharing, bragging, building a reputation in communities that traded in stolen privacy. One message, sent on December 3, 2024, read, "Got 3 angles now. Gym is perfect. Nobody checks anything. I could do this forever." Another, from November 19th. "Second camera, working perfect. Nobody suspects a thing." A third, from October 28th. just 2 weeks after his first placement. Already got like 200 files. This is too easy. Management doesn't check anything. He couldn't do it forever. And now, everyone would know exactly what he had done. The investigation expanded to include the FBI's Cybercrimes Division, who traced the forum uploads to their destination servers. Files had been accessed by users across Europe, Asia, and South America. The content had been downloaded, redistributed, and archived on servers in countries that don't cooperate with American law enforcement. Complete removal was impossible. Every woman in those files faced a permanent reality. Their most private moments existed somewhere on the internet, beyond their control, beyond any court's jurisdiction. 47 victims were identified and notified by police. Each received a phone call no one should ever have to receive. Each learned that their privacy had been stolen by someone they trusted to maintain the building where they exercised. 3 of those women would later provide victim impact statements that would be read aloud in open court. Their words would echo through the courtroom long after they finished speaking. Stories like this need to be told. If you believe in accountability, subscribe and hit the notification bell. We cover cases that mainstream media ignores every single week. No longer existed. Seized by police 3. No longer existed. Seized by police 3 hours earlier. He didn't know that. He thought it was just another Sunday, another routine swap, another 72 hours of footage secured. Officer Derek Mullins was waiting in the corridor. The body camera captured everything. "Hey, don't move. I need to talk to you." Jalen stopped. His expression shifted. Confusion first, then something harder to read. "What's going on? I work here. I know where you work. I know what you've been doing in that locker room. I was checking the vents. That's my job. There was a maintenance request." "There was no request. We checked. You've been in that room 23 times in the last 2 months. Same area, same time, same pattern." Jalen's hand moved toward his pocket. Instinct, maybe, or habit. "Don't. Keep your hands where I can see them. I didn't do anything wrong. I don't know what you think you found, but we found 3 cameras, Jalen. Hidden cameras, recording devices, all of them linked to your phone." Silence. His face went slack. The color drained from his cheeks. "I want to see a lawyer." Those were the last words Jalen Odom spoke to anyone in that building. He was handcuffed at 6:21 p.m., searched, and transported to the Glendale Heights Police Department. His phone was still in his pocket when officers seized it. The screen showed a notification from the camera app. Live feed disconnected. The feed had been disconnected because the device no longer existed. But the footage it had captured, months of it, was already backed up on servers that investigators were just beginning to access. 109 felony counts, fingerprints on all 3 devices, forum messages from his phone. The evidence was overwhelming. Jalen Marcus Odom pleaded guilty on March 14, 2025. At sentencing, 3 victims delivered impact statements. Rachel Whitmore, the woman who discovered the first device, spoke first. "I used to feel strong at the gym, confident. Now I can't walk into a locker room without checking every vent, every outlet, every corner." He didn't just record me. He took something I'll never get back. A second victim, a 58-year-old grandmother who had been recorded 41 times, told the court, "My granddaughter asked why I don't swim anymore. I couldn't tell her the truth." Judge Eleanor Vance addressed Jalen directly. "You were given a position of trust, access to private spaces. You exploited that trust systematically and without remorse. You recorded women in moments they believed were private. You categorized them. You shared them with the world. The women in this courtroom will carry what you did for the rest of their lives. No sentence can undo that. 5 years. Pinckneyville Correctional Center. Lifetime placement on the state registry. Prohibited from any position with access to private spaces." He showed no visible reaction as the sentence was read. He did not look at the victims. He did not apologize. He was escorted from the courtroom in handcuffs at exactly 3:47 p.m. Summit Athletic Club now faces a $2 million lawsuit from 34 victims. Membership dropped 31% in the months following his arrest. New security policies were implemented. digital logging, two-person protocols, quarterly sweeps for devices. Changes that came far too late for all 47 women. That one stays with you, but the case on your screen right now will leave you speechless. Click it.